So this morning I woke up to my phone going crazy. It was an alert from the weather service or international, whatever, the national weather people making the crazy siren on my phone telling me that it was a tornado warning. And it was bad. It was about 5:30 and I looked out the window and it was real yellow and yeah, it looked like pretty good. So I thought I'll lay here and wait to see if I hear a train and then get everybody up. And of course I didn't. So we got up at our regular time and got going, and I drove my children to school in a torrential downpour. Like, it was windshield wipers on high and I still couldn't see out the window, kind of a thing. And it was flooding the roads and it was crazy. So this afternoon I'm on my way to pick up my kids from school, and I just want to show you one of the things I love about Tennessee, Middle Tennessee. It was horrible all morning. I remember around 11:30 thinking it's gonna rain all day, but I want to show you the sky that I'm seeing right now. Yeah, you see that? And that, folks, is what I love about Middle Tennessee. That and all these beautiful farms that I get to drive by just to go pick up my kids. So I have siblings that live all over the country. My parents live in Dallas. I've got siblings in California. I've got family in New York, Utah, South Dakota, Illinois. I mean, pretty much all over, north, south, east, west. And my dad follows a bunch of us on the Weather Bug or whatever his weather app is. And he's always comparing everyone's weather. And I told him, I'm like, you cannot compare Tennessee, because I am sure if you looked at what today said on the Weather Bug or whatever weather app you had, that it was bad weather, that it was going to be rain or like chances of thunderstorms. And we had that. But how many hours later? I feel like it's like almost tropical, that just a few hours later it is beautiful out. So I mean, just saying, never underestimate Tennessee's weather, or don't let it be summed up by a weather app. Technology is not always an exact representation, for sure. What are you doing, Don? Jabe's Only Park? Jabe's Only Park? That's true. What do you think, bub? You can almost touch the tree. Don and I got married, and a few months later bought our first home in the small town that we currently live in. It was a 1,200 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that we brought all 4 of our babies home from the hospital to. Then Don's job transferred us, and we wound up moving to Ohio for 3 years. And we lived between Cincinnati and Dayton. If you split the difference, they're about an hour apart. We were somewhere right in the middle. And we lived there for 3 years before we got transferred back home to Tennessee. So the year that we moved home to Tennessee, it was the summer of 2019, and the market here in Middle Tennessee was insanely hot. Like, things would get listed on Wednesday and be under contract by Thursday, left and right. And there was no way that doing a corporate move where you don't have complete control over your timeline, that we were going to be able to find anything. I couldn't even find enough houses to justify walking through, making a trip to come down and walk through. In fact, when I came down with the realtor to look through houses, every single house on my list went pending between Wednesday and the Saturday that I was here to house hunt. So our hands were tied and we had nothing to even look at, let alone buy. When we lived in Ohio, we lived in a HOA subdivision full of brick houses with sidewalks. We lived in a really large house. It was an almost 4,000 square foot house. We could walk to the community pool from our house or ride the bikes. It was a really nice little dream that we always thought we wanted, to have this neighborhood life. But we realized shortly after moving there that we are not subdivision people. We don't don't want to ask anyone's permission where to put a shed or what kind of fence we can have. And we just wanted some freedom and some privacy to make the choices that we wanted. So we knew moving back home that we wanted some land. The week after we got home from looking at houses here in Tennessee, home to Ohio at the time, we felt very defeated. We felt like there was nothing. We didn't know what we were going to do. They couldn't issue Don a work car because he didn't have a home address in Tennessee, but yet he was employed in Tennessee at this point. And it was frustrating. And the market was just so hot that our hands were tied, especially wanting some land. So a few days after we got home, I started getting tagged over and over and over in a post or a new listing for this house. So that is how we found this house. It had the land that we wanted. It was in the location that we wanted. It was in the perfect town, the place that we knew we were happy and could be happy. So it was the place, the exact same town that we had lived in before. So the first time that we ever walked through the doors to this house or turned around the curve to pull up the driveway to this house, we were actually under contract to buy it. So the minute we found this house, we made an offer knowing full well that if we didn't, we would lose our opportunity. And it was accepted, and we took a trip down the next weekend to see it. And we came around that blind curve of the driveway, and I held my breath and came around the corner to see this. It was by no means my dream house, but I knew looking at it, there were so many things that we could do with this, and it was gonna be perfect. So we finally had a few acres of our own land, and that allowed us to move home again to Tennessee. That's why we call it Home Again Acres. I've done a ton to this house, and I'd love to show you more as time goes on about all the different changes that we've made and share with you some before pictures and some projects that are still to come. Okay, well, it's a video. Look at that. It's a double rainbow. I don't know if you can see the second one.
Yeah, it's a double
right there.
rainbow.
You can see the double rainbow better. Ooh, look at that. Double rainbow. Whoop, whoop. We're in the spring storm.